Now to a KTBS 3 in-depth report. Just last week, Russian President Vladimir Putin launched a hypersonic missile into Ukraine. It flies at 10 times at the speed of sound, and Putin has said that he has a stockpile ready to be used. The U.S. does not yet have a similar weapon in the field. And as U.S. and Russia tensions escalate on the world stage, we are reminded of the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States that started after World War II and lasted for decades.
In this story, I look back at how Barksdale and the local community responded back then.
This is Hiroshima, moments after the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on the Japanese city in 1945. More than 100,000 people were incinerated in seconds. Temperatures at the blast site were 7,000 degrees.
Let there be no mistake. We shall completely destroy Japan's power to make war. If they do not now accept our terms, they may expect a rain of ruin from the air, the like of which has never been seen on this earth.
It took a second bomb hitting Nagasaki before the Japanese surrendered, marking the end of World War II. But peace did not last long. Within 4 years, the Soviet Union had their own nuclear weapons, and Americans were now scared.
We had a lot more bombs than they did, but what if some of them on their side get through?
Americans were encouraged to build fallout shelters in the 50s, places where they could go if a nuclear bomb hit nearby. Then in 1961, Congress voted to spend today's equivalent of $1.7 billion to identify, fortify, and stock public fallout shelters across America.
The first step in a nationwide effort to assure that every American will have a place to go in the event of a nuclear attack. Extensive studies of many different types of simulated nuclear attacks have established quite clearly that tens of millions of lives will be saved if shelter space for the entire population is made available.
At Bossier Parish Library's History Center, there are boxes full of items like those stacked in local shelters. There are masks, hazmat suits, and Geiger counters to measure radiation. There is also a map showing close to 100 locations in northwest Louisiana that were designated as public shelters, places like the YMCA, City Hall, and the Strand.
The level of detail in the planning is really quite amazing. So here you have the nuclear evacuation instructions for the Shreveport area. And what you do is you open it up and you find where you live on the map, and then you use the evacuation route designated for you to your fallout shelter.
Most of the shelters already existed and were simply fortified basements, like this one here at Byrd High School, which is now a rifle range. Byrd still has the fallout shelter signs posted around the school showing the kids where to go.
And they were designed to keep you safe for 2 weeks.
Over at Barksdale Air Force Base, the bombers sat in what was called the Christmas tree formation, ready to take off at a moment's notice. Because Barksdale was considered a high-value target, there were also 2 Nike Hercules anti-ballistic missiles pointed toward the sky to shoot down Soviet missiles aimed at Barksdale.
We were in the top 5 targets of the Soviets, because we were at the headquarters of a numbered Air Force at that time, 2nd Air Force, before the 8th came here.
Because it is now home to the 8th Air Force and the Global Strike Command, which commands 2/3 of the nation's nuclear forces, Barksdale remains a top target, with Putin naming it among Russia's top 14 earlier this year. For KTBS 3 News, I'm Johnette Magner.
Since the end of the Cold War, most of the fallout shelters have been repurposed. While nuclear weapons are now also in the hands of other U.S. adversaries, such as China and North Korea, times have changed and the threat of nuclear war no longer dominates the headlines. However, if the need arose, many of these shelters could likely be put back into service. If you would like to see a list of all the sites that were shelters, just go to our website and review my story there. The list is included.